And welcome back to Game Escape. Today we're going to be taking a look at Battle Robot Retsuden for the Super Famicom, released in 1995 by Banpresto. This game was one of my earliest pickups for the Super Famicom, and I've really enjoyed it. It is a mecha anime-themed strategy RPG, and it's quite accessible, both because it doesn't rely super heavily on kanji and because it's a very simple battle system that you can just pick up and play. The layout of the game is fairly straightforward. You are a member of a team of mecha, and you navigate around an overworld map, which is fairly similar to something you would find in, say, Super Mario World. You click on a given stage, and you are taken to the battle screen, which is a battlefield broken up into hexagons. You move around and you fight other evil robots. You have a number of different attacks that cost different amounts of action points and have different ranges associated with them. Each robot has a, for lack of a better term, melee attack with a sword or a punch, and then at distance they can fire various bombs and lasers. And it's fairly straightforward when you start out, not very challenging. The first stage, or first two stages actually, are basically training assignments. And when you fight enough of these battles, you can go back into the overworld screen, actually enter your mech, or it could be a sort of command center for your army, and then group your teammates in different ways and upgrade their abilities. You basically do this, rinse, and repeat. It doesn't really change in difficulty or in visual presentation that much throughout most of the game. The maps themselves, the actual battlefield maps, are fairly similar. They're just on a kind of landing strip with mountains in the background, or various types of terrain. As you progress into the game, the terrain might be more mountainous, and there's certain advantages for taking the upper ground, things like that. But don't expect a ton of variety. Now, outside of finding the correct range for some of your projectile weapons, there's not a lot of other strategy involved in the game. Sometimes finding your range can be difficult because, based on a map, you may not know exactly what counts as 2 spaces away from your enemy. That's more of an issue of the stage layout and the camera perspective. The only other thing you have to really worry about is where your character is standing and the direction in which he's facing. Sometimes you'll be in some multi-enemy battles where you'll move to attack one enemy and have your back to another. It leaves you open for a more damaging hit. But I never really encountered a stage or a boss that was really a challenge. As you move through the game, you will find boss battles where the bosses have better defensive capabilities and they'll be better at evading your attacks. But ultimately, it's just a matter of time and picking the right, if you have a couple characters who are sufficiently leveled up, always pick them, and you won't have any problems fighting the battles in this game. So it sounds kind of boring and by the numbers, but one of the highlights of the game is the music. I think the music in this one is pretty great, and it's cheesy, and it may well be from some of the anime series represented here, but it works, and it makes some of these boring levels a little bit more entertaining. Now, as far as the series involved, I was only able to recognize the character Amuro from what I guess is the original Gundam series. I'm not really a fan of these series or this type of anime, but just for the record, I looked up what series are involved here. You have Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Counterattack, Combat Mecha XA Bungle, or Zabungle, it's all one word, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, Heavy Metal L Game, Aurora Battler Dunbine, Invincible Superman Zambot 3, and Invincible Steelman Daitarn 3. Now, outside of Gundam, I have never heard of any of these series. There is a fair amount of dialogue going on between some of these characters. If you're fans of this genre and you speak Japanese, I'm sure this adds something to the experience, but overall, it can get quite repetitive. And it's this repetition that's really the main problem with this game. Prior to doing a video reflection on it, I actually had a higher opinion of it because I would play it on a mission-by-mission basis, almost as an appetizer to other games in my Super Famicom collection. And playing it that way was really great. You'd play a level, listen to the cool music, try out the different abilities of your robots, save, and be done with it. Playing it, though, for an hour or so at a sitting was tough. There just wasn't enough substance to the game to really keep me all that interested. It may, however, be of interest to you if you like the Super Robot Wars series. There was never a sequel to Battle Robot Retsuden, but it plays very much like Super Robot Wars Tyson F, I believe it is, on the Sega Saturn, although Battle Robot Retsuden is much easier than that game. But if you're a fan of that series, this will definitely appeal to you. It is, though, a nice game to add to your Super Famicom collection because it's very cheap. Boxed and complete, you're looking at, I would say, somewhere between $10 and $12 on eBay. Loose, I found it for $3. I'm seeing it now for $4 or $5, so it's a cheap, fun game to play mission by mission. And if that appeals to you, or if you like the genre, the mecha anime genre, give it a shot. It's not a lot of money, it has great music, and it's a nice entry point for a Super Famicom collection. Thanks for watching Game Escape, and we'll see you again next time.